these sacred principles are within all of us. Character, values, built on a foundation of truth. The truth of the love and the inner fulfillment that is the treasure within every heart. By our spiritual practice, we chant these beautiful mantras. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, to filter our consciousness, to reconnect with that love, that truth that's within us, beyond egoistic, selfish, sectarian concepts, so that we can actually be instruments of that love. And when individually we strive, we make this a priority in our life, to develop this foundation we build our occupation, our career, our families upon, and we share these ideas with others, we can create positive changes beyond our imagination, because we're connecting to a power infinitely greater than our own. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maharaj, for a wonderful talk. We do have time for some questions and answers. So we have this cordless mic. If anyone has a question, please raise your hand. Now I know what Phil Donahue felt like.
All right, well, can you, I don't even know how to pronounce some of these words, but can you speak a little bit about Shristaka, the 8 slokas left by Lord Chaitanya? And also, okay, that's how it's pronounced. And also this concept of Achinta Beta Beta Tattva.
What is your name?
Brian.
Brian. Grateful to you, Brian. Achinta Beta Beta Tattva is a Sanskrit word, a Sanskrit principle, which is at the very heart of the school of Bhakti-yoga. Bhakti is love, devotion, our deepest potential, and it's also the means by which we can reconnect with that potential. The analogy is given of the sun, planet. From the sun planet are emanating unlimited sun rays. When the sunshine comes into our window, which is many, many little sun rays, we usually say, the sun has come in my house. That's true, it has. But at the same time, it hasn't. Because if the sun planet came in your house, it would be a whole different experience. But the energy, the parts of the sun have come into my house. So this, according to the school of Bhakti, is the nature of the soul, the Atma, the identity of each and every one of us in relationship to the Supreme Soul, or Bhagavan, or Krishna. Krishna is like the sun. Mamayvam so jiva loke jiva bhakta sanatana. And from the sun, everything is emanating. And we are all like rays of that sun. Qualitatively, we are absolutely not different. The sun ray gives off heat, gives light. It's identical in quality to the sun, but in quantity it's only a part. So similarly, Krishna, Bhagavan, God, is the supreme, unlimited, complete whole from which everything emanates. And we are all divine emanations. Satchit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. But we have a tendency by which, because we are only a part, we can forget our divinity. That is called Maya. To forget who we really are and what our real potential is. And the spiritual path is meant to revive our true memory and understand we are all sacred parts of that divine being. And when we recognize that within ourselves, we recognize that everywhere, that life is sacred. You cannot love God without loving every part of God. We may not love what they do, or what they say, but we understand what is the inherent nature of life, wherever it exists. So Chitta Beta Beta Tattva means to understand the principle of being simultaneously, qualitatively one, and quantitatively different. And Shikshastakam is teaching how Lord Chaitanya taught in this age of Kali, a time of great quarrel and hypocrisy. There's a very, very simple, powerful medicine that can cure us of forgetting, of this forgetful state. And that's chanting the transcendental sound vibration of the mantra, or these divine names. And the way it works is just like on a television. These days you just push a button and change the channels, yes. During our days we had, where I lived, there were 3 channels. And it was all black and white when I was a little boy. And every time you changed the channel, you had to get up and you had to turn the dial. Oh, God. Can you imagine? And every time you changed the dial, then you would go down and sit, and you'd see it was all fuzzy. Then there was these antennas on top of the television, and you'd be going like this, trying to get it right so that the picture was like, it goes, and it's all right. Now you just lay in your bed, hundreds of stations. It's actually incredible. You are all probably great technologists and scientists, so you know how it works. But for little me, I'm just amazed. How is it you press a button and all of a sudden you get a whole different experience? And some of these televisions are gigantic. When I visit my father, he has this massive television. And he just... He has about 150 stations on this gigantic television. And all day long, he watches one news station. And I come to his house, I say, you know, you have 200, 150 stations. Why are you always watching this one news station? He said, nothing else is interesting. He said, in the old days we had 3 stations and everything was interesting. That's his evaluation. Anyways, it's quite incredible. You press a button and all of a sudden, this screen and you're right in the middle of like the Amazon on a boat with these Discovery channels. They're getting these, picking up electrical eels. And then you press another button. And you're in Dallas, Texas watching a football game. And you just press the button again. And you're in the Khyber Pass between Afghanistan and Pakistan watching these guys shooting torpedoes at each other, missiles at each other. And you press another button. And there's some romantic situation that Swamis usually press the button. How is it you just press a button and all of a sudden you're in a whole other world? It's not that you have to, send a letter and say, I want to watch this, please send it to me. That means these waves, this energy, or these frequencies are everywhere. There's hundreds of frequencies all around us, just television frequencies. They're right here in this room, probably. And what to speak of all the other frequencies. And according to what we tune into, that's what we access. There's greed, the frequency of the world's collective greed, selfish passion, envy, anger, illusion, arrogance, goodness, charity. There are so many frequencies all around, and what we tune into is the reality that we're going to become. According to the path of bhakti, Shikshastakam, these verses you're asking about, the highest, most powerful of all frequencies, that is all pervading within and without everything and everyone, is the frequency of grace. That can heal us, that can enlighten us, that can protect us, that can empower us with love. And the deepest inner fulfillment that the hawk of faith cannot touch. And taught that this kirtan, this chanting of the Lord's names, tunes us into the frequency of divine grace and awakens that inner love within us. And these 8 verses explain systematically how it works and the consciousness that gradually develops and that we should aspire for to actually reach that state of prema, or ecstatic love. The first verse tells that the mind is like a mirror. When you look in a mirror, you're supposed to see yourself. But when the mirror is covered with all kinds of dirt, like that drop of water we were talking, all we see is the dirt. This beautiful chanting process, this meditation on a mantra, cleans the mirror of the mind so we can see Untitled. We can see our own eternal, infallible divinity as parts and parcels of the supreme, all-beautiful object of all love. It's a long subject, but we'll stop there.
We have time for another question, but before we do, I have a question that just, I hope is just a 1 or 2 word answer, but sometimes you were talking about the hawk, and you said, it sounded like you said fate, F-A-T-E, and sometimes it sounded like you said faith, F-A-I-T-H. And which one did you mean, or what was that about?
F-A-T-E.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. Thanks for clearing that up. I have a question back here.
Shayad Banerjee. I had a question regarding, so what I find on observation is most Indian traditions are extremely tolerant when it comes to their theologies, but in actual practice in the social circles, there is a lot of intolerance among different communities in India. And I would be interested in how the faith traditions and the leaders of the faith traditions, what they can do to actually transmit the theological tolerance that exists in the philosophy of Indian traditions into an actual social practice. Thank you.
Thank you. As a person born and raised in America, I've been living in India primarily for the last 42 years. My experience is India is the land of everything. There's 1,200,000,000 people there, and there's some of the most incredible wealth and some of the most desperate poverty. There's some of the most incredible high cultural morals, and there's some of the most despicable immorality. India is the land of every possible extreme and everything in between. This is my subjective observation. I mean, I've seen people who are just the most rude, arrogant, and horrible people. Guru Das Ji, he went to India in 1970 with my beloved Guru Srila Prabhupada. And some of the ladies who were with him, they were telling me that they would be on a bus and people would start grabbing the private parts of their body. That never happened to them in America. And then other people, they would honor them and worship them like a mother, like their own mother. So it's a land of extremes. One time, bribes and corruption, it's kind of like that everywhere. But in India, it's very, very, let us say, doesn't have much ornaments on it. Somebody was saying, India's so corrupt, like this and this. I said, the difference between the corruption in India and the corruption in other countries is kind of like this. Now, this is my subjective observation. Now, please forgive me if I cross any lines when I give you this. I said, in America, when people respond to nature's calls, you all know what that means, right? When Mother Nature calls, you have to go to the bathroom. I've seen there's places where beautiful toilets and all kinds of sweet fragrances and little libraries and colored television. And in India, people just do it on the railway tracks. So they're doing the same thing. It's just without the sophistication. So India has a lot of unsophisticated situations and also some of the most incredible sophistication. Everything's there. It has such a deep, profound philosophy of life that's coming through the Vedas. And those who understand it properly are such loving, compassionate, cultured instruments of such good and respect. and others who misinterpret the same teachings. And it creates envy, arrogance, and hate. The caste system. Not long ago, I was giving a lecture in Malibu, California, and people were saying, we cannot respect India because of the caste system, where you are judged according to how you were born. It's like the caste system actually is a very, very perverted misconception of something very practical and beautiful called Varnashram Dharma, which teaches that every part of the body, according to its natural abilities, has incredible value. The head, the ears hear, the nose can't hear, it smells. The mouth can't do either one, it tastes and it speaks. The feet can't do any of that stuff, but it walks. The kidneys can't do it either. But the eyes can't do what the kidneys do. And the heart can't do what the liver does. And the intestines can't do what the eyes do. And the pancreas can't do what the anus does. And I'm not going to go into too many more details. A healthy body is when all the different parts, the brain and the heart and the feet and every vein, is all working together for a common purpose. They're all working, they're all doing their duties for each other, for the whole. It's not that the knee is saying to the feet, I am higher than you. You should serve me. It's not that the brain is telling the heart, I am superior to you. Every part of the body is working with respect and honor to the value of every other part. And that's what the Varnashram system teaches. There are people with different natural activities, different natures. Somebody may be in business, some may be a farmer, some may be a politician, some may be a warrior, some may be a teacher, some may be an enlightened sage. Everybody is working together for each other. And what is the unifying principle that brings us all together? In the Bhagavad-gita, that principle is called Krishna, the all-attractive unifier. Sometimes called Allah, sometimes called Jehovah, sometimes called Ram, Govinda. That one supreme being, the source of everything, the ultimate object of everyone's love. When we recognize our relationship with that supreme being, then we recognize our relationship with each other. And we appreciate and honor the values of each other. Because we're inseparable parts. And to the degree every part of the body respects the values of every other part of the body, the whole body and each part of the body is healthy and happy. So we should take the essence of the good of every great tradition and not get fogged away by all the misconceptions. And I think in India there is such a beautiful wealth of scientific knowledge and the experience of such rishis and sages and so many beautiful, beautiful avatars. I know one Christian monk, Father B. Griffiths, he was a dear friend of mine. He was one of the most devout Catholics, Benedictine monk. And he went to India was sent as a missionary when he was a young man after graduating from Oxford University. And he was thinking he would change all these people. But when he saw the people who were actually deeply cultured and enlightened, he changed. He said, I don't want to change them. I want what they have that will make me a better Christian. And he actually wrote, he was a very bold person. He wrote, I'm a devout Christian who found the other half of my soul in India, in the practices of the Vedic religions. He wrote a commentary, a Christian commentary on Bhagavad-gita called The River of Compassion. And he's teaching Christians about the universal divine truths that the Vedic religions, Bhakti religions, are teaching, and how it can enrich our understanding as Christians. When my beloved Guru Srila Prabhupada came to America, somebody asked him, why have you come? We have our own religions. Srila Prabhupada said, I have not come to convert. I have come to enlighten. I've simply come to remind you of what you have forgotten, which is the essence of every great religion. To love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. To connect to that infinite peace, that infinite happiness, that infinite love of God that is within all of us. To uncover that treasure. And when we see from that perspective, we can see the beauty and truth wherever we are. I hope that answers your question. I don't even remember your question. But it's all right. Thank you very much.
Well, I think that it's getting time because we do have a meal. So I think we should stop the questions now. Maharaj, Swamiji, want to express our heartfelt gratitude that you were able to come again. We know that you have a very busy schedule and you have many appointments and meetings and different things, but we hope you can make some time every year, at least once a year, to come to the Bhakti-yoga Club of Stanford University and speak to our members, our people that come attend these lectures.
Can I tell one more quick story? But eventually I hitchhiked from London to India. And I was living in the Himalayas. And in the Himalayas I would sit on a rock in the river Ganga and I would just meditate and pray from sunrise to sunset. And I had no money. So I was only eating about a carrot a day and drinking a lot of water from the river. And I did this for about a month. And at the end of the month, I was really hungry. And I happened to have 1 rupee. Somebody gave it to me because they thought I was a holy man, so they gave me it. I was saving that rupee the whole month. Actually, it was given to me the day before the month was over, if I remember right. And I thought, this is God, whatever your name is, whoever you are, you divine, the divine has given me this rupee to eat. went to a place where they were selling peanuts. My whole life, I loved peanuts. 1 rupee in those days was about 7 cents. There were 7 rupees to $1 in those days, so how much is a rupee? 14 cents. So in America, you'd get about this many peanuts. I showed him a rupee. This man, this peanut vendor, was so enthusiastic. He went out and started getting newspapers. This was quite interesting. And he started, I don't know how he did it, but he was patching the newspapers together by folding it in certain ways. So he made out of newspapers a shopping bag this big. And he filled it to the top with peanuts. They all were in the shells. And they were roasted in sand and fire and salted. And they smelled so good because they were kind of right out of the smoking sand and the smell of these roasted peanuts. So nice. And I was living as a sadhu, and sadhus don't eat in public. So I was living in the jungle of the Himalayas in a cave. So I had this big bag of peanuts. I was kind of embracing it. It was so warm. Peanuts. I was going to my cave, and my stomach was churning and my tongue was dancing in anticipation. Suddenly, a monkey came out of the forest and jumped right in front of me. And he looked really angry. He showed his fangs. Like that. And he looked, his green eyes gazed into mine. I studied monkeys in the forest. They are expert at psychological warfare. If they sense the slightest fear in you, you're finished. So this monkey, he started screaming at me, looking at me, and then he was a big, muscular male monkey. He jumped right into my face. And as he jumped with his feet, he kicked me in the chest really hard. So I went flying back, and with his hands, he grabbed the bag of peanuts and ran away with all of them. About 15 or 20 peanuts fell to the ground as he was pulling. So I was thinking, well, at least I have something. And just when I was about to reach down, these little baby monkeys they grabbed every one of them. I was not left with a single peanut. And I had no more money. So I just walked back to my cave. After that anticipation, I was actually really kind of traumatized. But then I just decided there must be some lesson in this. Wherever there's apparent curse, there's a blessing if we could just see it inside. What am I supposed to learn from this? I was thinking, compared to the beautiful, beautiful experiences I had in my meditation and in chanting God's holy names on the Ganges, all the materialistic things in this world are like peanuts. And I was thinking how people lie, cry, die, defy, just to get these peanuts. Not knowing that at any moment, the monkey of time, or the monkey of someone's greed, is going to snatch all of our peanuts away. So why not find that treasure, that nourishment, that satisfaction, that love that is within us, that the monkey of time can never find? When we have that, we could share that treasure with the world in whatever we do. We may be teachers, mothers, fathers, students, software engineers, farmers, industrialists, politicians, even swamis. Whatever we may do, we could all work together to be instruments of that love, that compassion. That's how the world could change. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much again, Maharaj. We have several announcements, and one announcement is that the Swami's autobiographical book, The Journey Home, is for sale tonight, and Swamiji will be signing copies. The story of the hawk and the story of the peanuts and the monkey are among the hundreds of very interesting. The way he tells, the way he writes these stories is just fascinating, and I think everyone will love this book. Those of you who have it and who've read it, I'm sure you all agree, right? And so we want to thank the Bhakti-yoga Club and also the Pacific Learning Alliance for sponsoring these talks. And the Bhakti-yoga Club also has several other programs that go on. There are vegetarian cooking classes, and there are, beginning 29th of September, there will be classes called the Science of Self-Realization classes, where there'll be smaller groups and personal instructions on practicing meditation techniques and so forth. Here's a flyer for the vegetarian cooking class. These flyers you can get outside. You want that one? There's a whole stack of them outside. I'll give you this copy because I don't need it anymore. And also I want to ask you, we have a questionnaire form to fill out, which helps the Bhakti-yoga Club design the programs that they're going to bring to you. And it also helps you get on the mailing list so that you can be aware of the different classes and talks and different programs that they're sponsoring. It's a very active club that's doing things every week and interesting things here on campus. So please get one of these forms, or will we pass them out to people? And if you haven't filled one out already at one of the earlier programs, please fill out one of these forms. As promised, there's a vegetarian meal, and it's being served just on the outside to the right. And then you can bring it back inside to eat it. And while you're eating it also, there's plenty of different devotees and people to talk to, and also if you get a chance, if Maharaj will be signing some books, but you may get a chance to talk personally to Maharaj. And so I think that's really it. The Science of Self-Realization lecture series for the fall quarter will be conducted every Saturday evening in the Nairobi room in the Graduate Community Center. And it's 7 presentations where the Bhagavad-gita will be covered, Bhagavad-gita for beginners. So please enjoy your vegetarian meal and hang around and make some other friends with some of the other Bhakti-yoga club members. Hare Krishna.